Welcome to the Cat Scrappiness channel. This is April from the design team here, and I'm going to share with you a fun gift card holder project. And I'm using several items from our new winter release and one of my old favorites. So we're going to start with this new Reindeer Games paper pad. It has 12 different patterns in it. It's a nice, pretty heavy weight pattern paper. Then I'm grabbing the Reindeer Games stamp set and coordinating dies. These little reindeer are so cute. This is my old favorite, the nesting fishtail banner set. And then also grabbing the gift card pocket set. I do add another new release item here in a little bit. So I went ahead and cut all my banners here, and I cut one out of the pattern paper that I chose, and then two out of some white cardstock. One is the same size as my pattern paper, and I'm going to mount this on the back. I use some liquid glue, get this in place. This serves two purposes. One, it makes it much sturdier, and two, it covers the back side of that pattern paper, which I didn't want to show. I just wanted this red snowflake. So this smaller little banner that I cut out here, I'm going to glue to the front of my pattern paper. And this is where I'm going to kind of put my little scene when we put our reindeer on this gift card holder. So I'm going to use my liquid adhesive, get this into place, and then I'm going to put this up out of the way and set something heavy on it for that glue to set and dry while I work on other components of my project. So just going to slide that up there, and then I've already cut my two pieces from the gift card pocket set, and I'm going to use the little, I call it the decorative piece, the one with the stitched. And I'm going to use the Reindeer Games Sentiments. This is the one that I went and grabbed. And I'm using the Jingle All the Way, but this set comes with a bunch of sentiments and they're super cute, plus a bunch of cute little snowflakes in a variety of sizes. So I'm going to stamp this on that, like I said, that stitched decorative piece. And I'm going to stamp this in some distress ink in the new Lumberjack plaid. And I do stamp it several times because I wanted it deep and dark red like my pattern paper that's going to be on the front of this project. So always remember, you can get more out of your stamp pads by stamping them multiple times to make them darker, or stamp them off on a piece of scratch paper and then stamp it on your project, and you can end up with a lighter color. So it's always fun to stretch our projects, and this also gives us more colors from the ink pads that we have. So I clean this guy and I put him back so I don't lose him, because these little guys like to get stuck to other pieces of plastic and then they disappear in your craft room. So I always put everything away as I use it. So I'm going to put my gift card pocket together. So when I grabbed it, and for this project, this is the way I chose to put it together, but you can use the gift card pocket on its own as well. So I found there were a couple different ways to use this. I'm using the piece that I stamped on truly as a decorative piece instead of actually a piece of the actual pocket, which you can do as well. All you have to do is score and fold those, fold the score lines, go in the opposite direction, put this little decorative piece on you, and you have a standalone pocket. But for me, this is what worked. So I used my Teflon bone folder to make sure that the score lines were nice and crisp. I'm using just a little bit of score tapes because it's super sticky. And this is what I'm going to use to mount onto the back of that banner that I've put together. So I just put this on there, and I use my bone folder again to make sure that's really stuck. I'm going to just take a craft pick, pull off that release paper, and then I'm going to grab that banner that we've put together with the pattern paper. Oh, sorry. I'm actually going to put the decorative piece on the front. So then we're going to take the whole thing and put on the back of that large banner. And see, I made sure it fit perfectly. There is a larger banner in the nesting fishtail banner set that you could use as well, and it would work great too. So I just set that all aside while we go ahead and work on our cute little reindeer and our little scene. So this set is too cute. I've already decided that I am going to make 4 more of these little gift card holders so that I have one with each of the reindeer on them. So there are 5 reindeer in here that are perfect for coloring, and it comes with a variety of little accessories in the set as well. Santa hats, presents, gingerbread men, even teeny tiny pieces of candy that are just too cute. So I'm just stamping these in some VersaFine Onyx black ink. I like it because it stays wet long enough so that I can put embossing powder on it. And I just use Cat Scrappiness's powder tool to prep my paper. Even though I'm using clear powder, I still want to prep my paper so the powder just goes where I want it to go. And that's where I've stamped. So I'm going to stamp this. I'm going to pour a little bit of powder on, and then I will fuss with everything, rotate it, and stamp that little present again. If you noticed, I stamped once, then I wiped off my images, and then I stamped again. That is because I find that when you use anti-static powder and you stamp, whatever you've stamped with tends to pick up some of that powder, and I like a really crisp image. So I stamp it, wipe it off, stamp it again, and I find I end up with a really wonderful, crisp, embossed image in the end. So I've stamped the second little present using some clear embossing powder, and this is I use a coffee filter. I don't know, I've tried several different things. I think I really need to get some of those nice little plastic storage containers with lids for the powders I use all the time, but I just haven't got around to it. So I just use the good old coffee filter. I fold the ones that I use all the time up, and I just put those right next to those embossing powders. I'll use that little coffee filter for all of my clear embossing. And again, I'm putting my little present away, sticking that aside, and then we are going to heat emboss this. So I do heat from the front and the back. And I also make sure that my heat tool has been turned on for a good 30 seconds and is nice and hot before I take it to the paper. And then I do heat from the front and the back, try to get those images nice and smooth, and it becomes all glossy, so you know that the powder has turned and is set when it turns glossy. So I have these guys all embossed. Now I'm going to use some zig markers to color these guys. I have stamped these guys and embossed these guys on some Bristol cardstock just because another crafter suggested that for the zig markers and blending on it, and I find it blends the best. So I use these very similarly to Copics. I am not very good with Copic markers. Zigs are what I use to color, because when I just color with Copics, it does not turn out the way I want it to. So I put my darker color on. I use a lighter marker or the blender to blend that darker color out and create some shadows and dimension that way. And then I also make sure that you will see I'm scribbling up above my deer there on my little scratch piece up there. And I do that to clean off my lighter color marker, because it will pick up some of the darker, and you don't want to leave that on your marker and let that set. So if you just scribble it up there, it comes right off and your marker is set and will be the color you want it to be when you pick it up next time. So I picked the little deer that's holding a mug of something. I'm going to say cocoa because I don't drink coffee. So a cup of cocoa here with some steam. I make sure I color the steam even with a really light gray and use a blender to color that out. And also on the reindeer, I did the same thing, used a light gray, blended it out with a blender. I'm coloring my 2 packages, and I kept it really simple, just green and red, and reversed those on each package. Red is, with zigs, is just like red with any other color. It seems to want to get everywhere. It seems to bleed and take its time drying. So these should have been set aside to dry before I did anything else with them, because as I took them and ran them through my little die cut machine here that I keep on my desk just because it's handy for these small dies, it smeared. And I had to fix that with some white gel pen. Can't see it in the end, so it's fine. But just give it some time to dry because that red just seems to be difficult. So I love the coordinating dies. I love that this die set has all the little dies too. Like that little tiny piece of candy even has a die. So cute. So I've got the deer down, going to grab my one present, and I do have to run it through twice because there is one present, but that's fine. And these dies fit on there perfectly. Sometimes images like this, I have a hard time lining the die up and when I run it through the die cut machine, it's just off. These were perfect edge around it. Love that. It helps me as a crafter not have to take that extra time to line up these images with the dies. So we're going to run this way. I just throw this little extra piece of paper away. If there was a lot of it, I would actually keep it to use it to clean off my light colored markers on my next project if I use my zigs. So get these guys ran through, and then we're going to start thinking about how to put this little card together. And I think it's going to be fun to create a whole set of these gift card holders and just have them ready in case we always need them I don't have kids in school anymore, but back in the day for teacher gifts, teacher assistants, bus driver, super handy for those things. Now I give them to like my garbage man and that sort of thing, but always nice to have just to be able to grab something to put your gift card in to make it look prettier than just a gift card. So I get my set or my banner out, and then I kind of see where I want to put everything. And right here is where I realized I smeared everything, took it off camera, cleaned it up, brought it back, and I'm going to pop up my little deer. And I'm just going to use my little deer, put some foam squares on the back of him to pop him up. And I tend to use a lot of whatever foam I'm using. If it's foam tape or foam squares, I like to use a lot of them. I use the smaller ones, and for like the steam and his antlers, I just cut those in half and make sure I have foam underneath those edges too, so those don't get smushed and bent if you put it through the mail. I do suggest, if you have the time, which I don't, but if you have the time to actually take your mail when you've made a handmade card to the post office and have the postman hand stamp it instead of run it through the machine, because it's less likely to get damaged going through the mail that way. And our little local post office is open for just a few hours a day, and I never can seem to get there when they're open. So I still have pretty good luck with them getting through the mail without a lot of damage. But that's one way to ensure that your card is pretty safe as it goes through the mail system. So I'm just going to remove my little release papers and stick my deer on. Now I just chose to keep the background white. There's a lot of, you could have ink blended this with a different color, ink blended it with a stencil to add more snowflakes, added some glitter paste to make some more sparkly snowflakes, sorry. So there is lots of options there. I just really wanted the pattern paper and these cute little images to be the star, and I wanted the images to pop, so I just put them on that white smaller banner, and I think they are super cute. A few little, could add a few little embellishments like some sequins, which we have some beautiful new sequins as well. Those would have looked cute on the front of this as well. So I just glued my presents directly onto that white banner and put something heavy on that to have it set. And this is our finished project. And this little guy, I didn't use the largest one. I used the second largest banner in the Fishtail banner set, and it fits perfectly in an A1 envelope, and that envelope is 3 5/8 by 5 1/8 inch. Fits perfect. I try to keep envelopes of all sizes in my stash. I just have them in white for projects that aren't just an A2 or an A7 size. Fits perfect. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you want to go out and make some gift card holders for all those gift cards. Sorry, I didn't have a gift card to go in it, but thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe to our channel. It sure helps us out. Thank you.